This video demonstrates the graphical method, or the method you will use to complete homework 13.3 and 13.4 at the end of chapter 13. I think this technique is mislabeled. Yes, there is a graph or a picture of this technique that you can take a look at in the chapter. But it's really not necessary to draw that graph or that picture. And I don't think there is really a method. There is no set procedure for doing this. It's basically evaluating a certain strategy, and you can table the data in a lot of different ways. This basically requires you to use some common sense. But I will give you examples of how I would do 13.3 and 13.4. And then I'm going to go ahead and do all of 13.5 and 13.6 so you can see how you basically complete those. But I don't want to do too much of 13.3 and 13.4 because I'm assigning that to you as your homework. So we're given some basic information. We're told that we have beginning inventory of 200 units. If we do hold inventory, it's $20 per month per unit, and stock out cost for every unit we're short is $100. This is a penalty we pay if we do not have enough production to meet demand. And so if I were to do the first one, 13.3, which is what has been assigned to you in your homework, they propose a chase strategy. And what a chase strategy is, you simply hire more workers, or you fire workers to reduce production. Now, one of the keys to doing this is we need to know what those costs are, and they have figured those out. And those costs are not necessarily associated with an exact number of employees, but it pertains to the production. So I don't know how many employees we're going to hire or how many employees we're going to fire. I just know that the cost, the additional employees that we'll hire for an additional 100 units of production, it will cost us $5,000 in hiring additional employees and bringing them on board. If we reduce production for every 100 reduction in units, it costs us $7,500 in laying off employees. And so these costs have been associated with the actual production. Now we know that in December we were at a production level of 1,600. Now, one of the tricky things to starting this is that we have this beginning inventory here of 200. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that 200 to meet some of the demand in January. So I'm actually going to change this demand to 1,200 because I can meet 200 of that with the inventory that I have. And so what that means is that using some of that inventory, or using up all of that inventory, I now have to reduce my my staff from 1,600 production level down to 1,200. Because I have to reduce it because I only have to produce 1,200 because I am using 200 for my inventory to meet some of that demand in January. And so that means that I'm over here in the reduction. And so we are going to reduce 400 units, or in other words, 4 times the 7,500. And so it's going to cost me $30,000 to make that adjustment in January. Now, we don't have to calculate the actual production cost for the 12,000. They just want us to calculate the extra costs for following this strategy. In February, I then have to go from 1,200 up to 1,600. And so I'm going to go up 4. But in this case, when it comes to hiring, so 400 units, which is 4, because remember that the costs are associated. So 400 divided by 100 is 4. So I'm going to have 4 times the 5,000 for hiring. And so I will just continue to do this for March. I'm going to go up basically 200, so 2 times 5,000. In April there will be no cost, but you see the picture and you get down to the end, and then you would total up this column and add those together, and that would be the extra cost. So that's very simple, nothing overly complex. I just think you have to use some common sense in applying it, but we could evaluate that strategy. What would be the extra cost? The second problem that's been assigned to you is using subcontractors. And so we have basically our demand. Now they tell us here that we're going to do a level production. And so instead of a chase strategy, we're going to produce 1,400. And so we have some issues here, in that, remember, we have the beginning inventory of 200. Well, if we're producing 1,400 and the demand in January is 1,400, the only cost we're going to have in January is that we're going to hold on to that inventory. And so 200 times the $20 per unit per month. So we're going to pay $4,000 in holding cost. In February, we're going to use that inventory because we're going to produce 1,400. We'll use the 200 we have in inventory, and so there's zero cost in February. Now in March, we don't have any inventory here, and we're only producing 1,400. So we have to go up 400 units. And they told us in the problem that for every unit we have to charge $75 for the contractor, the subcontractor, to do that. So $75 for those extra 400 units. And so that's $30,000 there that we would have to pay in extra cost in regards to that idea. And so we can continue on. Here we got another 400 units, another $30,000. Here we have 800 units times $75. And once again, you would have to add up this column. In this case, we would only have that one element of holding cost. And then anytime we had to subcontract, for example, in August, you wouldn't have to subcontract, so there would be zero cost. But these two columns together would be the extra cost for the inventory. I'm going to stop it, the video here, and then I'm going to continue this idea. You have to do 13.3 and 13.4 on your homework. I'm going to show you how to actually complete the whole process using two other strategies. 13.5, they decide to look at it from the standpoint that we have a stable workforce, but we look at the idea that in the stable workforce we are going to add a little bit to our inventory, and if we don't have enough inventory, then we got to look at it stock out. And then in 13.6, we're also going to look at producing a certain amount of inventory, and anything above that we won't do the stock out, we will subcontract. So this is kind of a mixed strategy in the idea that we're going to have a level workforce, but we're going to produce, unlike this one where we produced at a fairly low level, the lowest level of demand, and we subcontract everything else. This is at a higher level where we'll build up some inventory and draw down the inventory, and if we don't have enough, we'll have a stock out. And in this case, once again, we'll produce at a higher level or build up inventory and draw down inventory. But instead of telling the customer too bad, we will subcontract out the addition. So I'll show you how to complete both of those totally. But you should have enough information now to complete the two homework problems that have been assigned to you.